Today I would like to discuss these funny, floppy, kipping pull-ups that people do in CrossFit. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but in case you don't, I'll put up a couple clips here around me so you can amuse yourself by watching people doing these types of pull-ups. So I would say this is probably the biggest sort of meme that people use to make fun of CrossFit. This is probably the biggest criticism that CrossFit gets is when these clips go online, people just rip into them. I mean, it's people get a lot of shit for these types of pull-ups. So I'm someone who has done CrossFit for several years. I currently don't do CrossFit anymore, but I think maybe I can, give an interesting opinion on these pull-ups. So a couple things I'd like to discuss in this video. First of all, I'd like to explain the actual CrossFit point of view of these pull-ups and why they do them, because I think it's quite misunderstood. And secondly, I'd like to talk about my personal experience with these pull-ups, and then finally I'll give my personal thoughts on these pull-ups. So first of all, from the CrossFit point of view, why do they do these pull-ups? A lot of people that make fun of these CrossFitters, leave the comments in these videos when someone does 100 kipping pull-ups, and then they'll comment like, try doing 5 strict pull-ups, I bet you can't. These people don't really get it, or maybe they're just having a laugh, but I think a lot of people don't understand why they do these pull-ups. So CrossFit as a sport, I'm talking about competitive CrossFit here, it is 100% dependent on your work capacity, your capacity to do a certain amount of reps in a certain amount of time. If you don't know anything about CrossFit competitions, they're different to other weightlifting or other athletic competitions. In a powerlifting meet, for example, you do 1 rep and you lift as much weight as you can for 1 rep. That's not how a CrossFit competition works, right? Not at all. The way a CrossFit competition works is they'll give you a workout, and that workout could be 30 reps of one exercise, 20 reps of another exercise, 5 reps of another exercise, and 10 reps of another exercise, and maybe you have to do 5 rounds of that, and the first one to complete it is the winner. So if you're competing in CrossFit, you need to be able to handle a shitload of reps, and you need to be able to do them fast. You need to do them faster than everyone else. That's essentially what CrossFit is as a sport. And when people go to the CrossFit boxes to train, that's what they train for. They train for the ability to do a lot of reps in a short amount of time. So CrossFit's definition of a pull-up does not align with a bodybuilder's definition of a perfect pull-up for hypertrophy, right? If you want to do pull-ups to build a bigger back, you're going to do a nice, slow, controlled movement, right? Where you're going to be thinking about your mind-muscle connection and whatnot. And that's how bodybuilders do pull-ups. Now, maybe someone who's doing pull-ups for strength will just want to add on as much weight as possible. But a CrossFitter, if they're doing pull-ups for a CrossFit competition, they just want to be able to do as many pull-ups as possible within a time frame that meet the CrossFit definition of a pull-up. And the CrossFit definition of a pull-up, I'm talking about the CrossFit organization, is very loose. So if I'm not mistaken, you can use whatever grip you want. You can hold the bar however you want. Underhand, overhand, close grip, wide grip, it doesn't matter. All you need to do is go from a fully extended position to either having your chin above the bar, or if it's a chest to bar pull-up, your chest needs to touch the bar. That's it. If you meet those requirements, you've done a pull-up, and it doesn't matter how you do it. So you can understand how within that framework, if you need to do 20 pull-ups, the absolute fastest way to do a pull-up according to that definition is to do the swinging, kipping movement. And that's why they do it. If you're in a CrossFit competition and your workout in the competition includes a set of 20 pull-ups, if you're going to be doing these strict, slow, and controlled pull-ups, and the guy next to you is banging out 20 kipping pull-ups in a matter of 10 seconds, do you think you have a chance in that competition? You don't. You have no chance. If you're doing strict pull-ups and everyone else around you is doing kipping pull-ups, you have no chance in that competition. So that's the reason why people train these types of pull-ups. And I guarantee you that when you see the videos of someone like banging out a shitload of kipping pull-ups, I guarantee you those people know how to do strict pull-ups, and they probably know how to do them very well, and they probably train them probably just as much as the kipping pull-ups. But the kipping pull-ups are very important for them because when they go to a competition, that's what they're going to be using, and that's what they need to be training for, right? Not just the strict pull-ups. They do the strict pull-ups, but they also have to do the kipping pull-ups because that's the definition that CrossFit uses for a pull-up. So if you think that's bullshit, then that's your opinion, but it's not going to change until CrossFit changes its definition of a pull-up. That's just how it is. So that's why they do it. My personal experience with the kipping pull-ups. So I've trained CrossFit for several years in several boxes, and not every box that I've trained at has actually used these kipping pull-ups. So one of the boxes where I trained, there was no kipping pull-ups at all. I trained there for quite a while. No one ever did kipping pull-ups. Then I went to another box, and it was there where I was actually first introduced to this style of pull-up. And yeah, the stronger guys there were doing the kipping pull-ups when the workout demanded it. When it was just pull-ups, then they would do them kipping, and then sometimes in the program it would say strict pull-ups, and in those cases they would do strict pull-ups. Now, personally, I tried to do the kipping pull-ups. I tried to learn them. So I've learned a bunch of movements in CrossFit. I learned how to climb ropes. I learned how to do muscle-ups. I learned how to do push-ups in a handstand. And for me, doing the kipping pull-ups is just another movement that I thought I had to learn in order to be proficient at CrossFit, right? And so I tried to learn them. And for several weeks in a row, it might have even been a couple months, every week pretty much, I was practicing these kipping pull-ups. But the thing is, I just never got good at them. I could never do them. And I practiced them for months. And I'm sure if I would have kept practicing, eventually I would have gotten it, right? It's not something that's out of the realm of possibility for me. But I just couldn't do them. And I'm not a competitive CrossFit athlete, and I wasn't planning to be a competitive CrossFit athlete. And when I was trying these kipping pull-ups, they didn't really feel good on my shoulders. Maybe I wasn't doing them properly. But at a certain point, I just gave up on them. I said, screw it, I'm not going to do it anymore. I told the coach, I was like, these don't feel good. I'm just going to do strict pull-ups. And he was like, that's totally fine. And so from that point on, every workout that had pull-ups, the guys around me were kipping. They were finishing the workout before me. And I was just doing strict pull-ups. And it was no big deal. I wasn't competing. I wasn't trying to win a medal or anything. I was just doing strict pull-ups. And if you're doing CrossFit and you don't want to do the kipping pull-ups, I don't think you have to do the kipping pull-ups. You can just tell the coach, I don't want to do it, doesn't feel good for me, and just do normal pull-ups. And who cares if other people finish before you? It's not a big deal. So that's my personal experience. It's something that I was exposed to. It's something that I tried. It's something that didn't work for me. And so I didn't pursue it, and it's not a big deal. It didn't have an effect on me. I didn't see the guys around me get injured doing them. They seemed quite good at like doing the kipping movement. They'd obviously practiced it a lot, and it seemed like they were doing it quite safely. Obviously, it's not as safe as a strict pull-up, no doubt about that. But I think if you really do know how to do it, it's not like you're gonna 100% get injured by doing this. So my personal thoughts on it, I think if you are competing in CrossFit and that's your goal, is to go to a CrossFit competition and try to win, then you don't need me to tell you this. You already know that you need to be doing kipping pull-ups, right? For everyone else, I mean, obviously, first you need to learn how to do normal pull-ups. I think that's quite important. And then if you want to do kipping pull-ups, try it, try it for yourself. If it feels good and you like doing them, then do it. Who cares what the internet says about it and if everyone shits on it? If it feels good for you, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. I think it's that simple. Like, people can try it, and who cares if you get made fun of? If it's a good movement for you and you enjoy it and it's part of your program, give it a try, do it. And if you try it and you don't like it and it doesn't feel good, then don't do it and tell your coach, and I'm sure it's going to be no problem. So, yeah, I don't think it's a necessary thing to do. I think it's really only necessary for people who are in competitive CrossFit. I can understand why they do it. I can also understand why people laugh at it. It is a pretty funny movement. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Thank you and see you next time.